All right, y'all. Welcome to the a second episode of Already Knowing Podcast. I got somebody here that I really, really adore, and it's like a brother to me. My man's Paul.
Family members.
And
I'm Diddy. I'm Baby Paul. I'm two times. I'm a lot of different names. But the crazy thing about it is, when I would meet a female on the street or anybody, right, and they'd be like, "Hey man, what's your name?" I say, "Oh, my name is Paul." Everybody gives me the strangest, craziest look. Like, boy, you got to be lying. Paul can't be your name. It ain't possible.
That's like me and a black man named Peter. Just saying.
Yeah, but you know, people who know my full name, I got 3 white men names, like full white people names. And this
right.
You don't expect this big old 6'5", 260, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Bald,
right.
Black man to be Paul. And anything Paul. So it's like, you know. Then when I tell people it's the junior at the end, okay, I understand. I ain't picked this. My mama really ain't picked this. She just let my daddy lead.
Right. Yeah. So what you been up to, man? How you been, man? What's been going on over these years?
Work, man. Work. It's been an up and down thing for me. You know what I'm saying? It's been turmoil, love, life, development, growth, and a lot of heartache. It's been life, man. I've been living life's terms, man. I actually sat back with a friend of mine recently, and I was asked the question: if I could go back in time and change one thing about my life, what would I change? I wouldn't change nothing. I thought maybe it would be the death of my father, but I can't. You know, I can't change him dying, because if he didn't die, ain't no telling who I would have been.
Exactly.
You know, his death was so peculiar in a way. It really shook a lot of stuff in my life and made who I am today. It wasn't even an option. You know what I'm saying? Like that moment, I look at that moment in my life as one of those road to Damascus kind of ground shaking moments. It puts you in a position where it was like, okay, this is why. You know, ain't no what's about it. This is why now. Who you see now is clear representation of him dying. So I couldn't change that. So I mean, I've been living, man, having me a good
man. I like how you put that. Man. So what was one of the biggest changes in your life outside of that? Because we all go through chapters in life. Well, and each chapter you evolve. So what's been up with these chapters in your life recently?
Well, I think the statute of limitation is up on this, so I can speak on it. I remember Bud, Richard Cobbins, had a party at his house, right?
Yeah.
And he had a house party. I think it might have been James had a house party. We got out, we were drinking. This one, I used to be a big drinker. You talking about a kid drunk, as I used to think.
Yeah.
Just doing anything, saying anything, being anything. And I remember being a kid and drinking heavily, and we was fighting, arguing with some random people. And I threw a half a gallon of liquor at somebody's car door. It bounced off the door and hit a random chick in the face.
Mm-hmm.
That was also one of those moments to where it was like, okay.
Yeah.
Take some time off. Pause.
Right.
And I mean, it was just so many things, like, you know, from being feared and hated by a lot of people. And then I like I said, Kenny, I make excuses for other people.
Right.
I changed who I am today. But the reality in it was I got tired of fighting and arguing with people. Just because I was
that shit is tiring, bro.
That
shit is exhausting.
Bro, I was 6'3", 6'2", 6'3" in like 8th grade, I think. So I would be in Markham, you know, or UP or wherever, the Heights, anywhere. And people were going to bother with me. And what most people don't know is that the tall guys don't want to fight. The tall guys, we want to joke and play and have a good time. The streets, tall guy, kind of hard. Right. The street hardness in a way. But when we was kids, man, all I wanted to do is laugh and joke and play. I remember my cousin, Bud, not Richard Cobbins, no family in that way for him.
Yeah.
Cousin Bud, I remember him telling me, man, Diddy, you smile too much. I said, what the fuck you mean I smile too much? And I realized it. Those dudes was putting their hands on me and trying to fight me because I was laughing and playing, and I didn't want to be the killer, the gangster, and all that. I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
So now, the position in my life now, you can't catch me not smiling and laughing. I'm going to enjoy my life. I have a hell of a time in life, like real life. I coined the phrase, G. I think I coined the phrase "no days off" because I really take this fashion, this clothes stuff serious. I be in the world.
Yeah, I be
like,
seeing you with the shoes. I be seeing you. I see the shoes behind you. I be seeing you with the shoes, bro.
This is I'm actually in my sneaker room. This is a closet. I didn't have too much space in my house. So I took a bedroom, smallest room, and literally turned this into a closet. So I got 2, 3, 4. I got 5 racks of clothes in here, top and bottom, and like hundreds of shoes. Like it's literally pro. The shoe thing, like
So question. With that, the shoes, has it always been a thing? Or did something happen in your life? You know, another chapter.
I started getting money.
He said,
when you get money, bro, it's different because I ain't talking about a couple dollars. I ain't talking about them tools and shoes. But when you start getting money, it's like, I hate to be get on your show and talk that, that cliche. We didn't have much growing up.
Oh, you good. Talk that. It's facts. It's facts.
I come from a single parent home, even before they killed my father. I remember when he did die, I think I cried the hardest at the funeral. And now that I've gotten to myself and I know myself, I cried at that funeral because of what could have been, not what was.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know him. That man left my mother when I was like 5, 6, and came back when I was 13, and he was I was 17. So you only talk about 4, 8 years of my life. I only knew him. And growing up with a single mother and her not being able to afford the Jordans and this and that. And, when I got to a certain age, I said, you can't stop me from buying a shoe. So no matter literally how much money I got in my pocket, if I see a pair of shoes that I think I want, I'm going to get it. I'm really going to get it. I might not just get one, might get 2, so that's where it came from, not having much, making something out of nothing.
But you know what? I think it was a good thing that she didn't get you those shoes when you was growing up, just because I seen a therapist say that parents put expensive clothes on their children to hide their behavior, that they have bad behavior. So they would put flashy clothes on them to hide that their child actually had problems.
So let's deal with that. So as I would say, let's unpack that. In hindsight, that may have some truth to it. Yeah. But how, our friends that we grew up with, people that we were around, they had a whole lot and still acted a fool. Still. True. So that makes relevance to what the therapist said.
Yeah.
Think about them kids like me and my cousins that broke into every house around America because we didn't have nothing. So imagine the potential. So imagine the hurt there on either side.
Yeah.
This is where I truly believe that there's no right way. There's no particular way to raise a kid. Just try your best. Put your best foot forward. Put forth a great effort. Never quit. And things will work out. Because if you give them something, they'll still act a fool. I know somebody right now, won't say his name. He grew up in Crete. Parents gave him everything. Grandparents did.
I mean, bro, it's a lot of them. It's a lot of them. It ain't even got to be a specific person, bro. It's a lot of them.
No, but this one in particular person started game banging heavily to the point to where he became a menace, and he was rich. And my mind said, I was literally. But then me and that gentleman had a kinship from his brother being real, like my best friend and brother to me also. But it just says to me that you that crazy actor and you blessed. I'm talking about when I say blessed, man, I remember one of that man's birthday parties, man, they rented out a gym like not like a high school gym, a gymnasium,
Oh,
ball pit,
damn.
foam pit,
Damn.
ball pit in Crete. I remember this. They had a full like juke jam type of party in this joint.
That's crazy.
Full tournament basketball games. And you crazy like that? Yeah. So
hey, but you know what? And that's when I seen my actual friends change. You feel me? I came in kicking it with a certain group of people, and then by the time I end up leaving Crete, like those people changed on me. You feel me? They started to do shit that I didn't really agree with and I didn't really fuck with like that. And I even met some of their parents, like seeing some of their parents later on in life, and they seen me and they was like, man, you know, how you been? I haven't seen you since you was 15, 16. And one of their parents be like, I'm proud of you. Like you moved around, because they got into a lot of shit and ended up with like, you know, records, and ended up locked up and getting into this and getting into that, you know, home invasion, this, home invasion, that. So I was like, you know, ma'am, I seen it and I had to move around. I had to stop fucking with people like that.
One person that I've always been heartbroken because of their life's decisions and choices was my man Rossi. Rossi, love that man. People don't even understand. If Rossi was like Neville to me, yeah, like my little brother, love Rossi, and it was crazy. Me and Rossi, I had a love from Rossi from afar. It was like we wasn't always around each other. When I see him, it's like certain people you just wrap your arm around and just like, man, it's my man, bro. And it never made sense to me. But you know, like I say now, we live life on life's terms, and when you don't live life on life's terms, life gonna win.
Right.
Every life
exactly.
You gonna win.
Exactly. So I recently read something, and I think I shared it on Facebook. It said that a simple mind speak of people, a regular mind speak of events, but a genius mind speak of business and creation. And I mean, what's your thoughts on that? Do you believe that that's definitely a thing? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. We've been doing this social media shit for so long, bro. I be having to tell like my little cousins, like, bro, we've been doing this social media shit for like 17 years, bro. Like, think about it. We started MySpace, Black Planet. Like, that's about.
I didn't even forget. I was just gonna use Facebook, but I forget MySpace, Black Planet.
Tag. We had all of, like, it's going on 20 years we've been doing this social media shit. So I tell people all the time, I'm like, bro, sometimes I can't stomach Facebook.
I know. I'm got where me and you was talking about it yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was about like, you know, I want to get out here and I want to let people hear me, and I really want to show them the intelligence, and I really want to help. My goal in life is to help somebody. I got to give somebody this information. I truly believe nobody comes around me. You don't need nothing. I believe every person I meet needs something from me one way or another. Right. And I got off of Facebook, man, because, bro, do you realize I sat on there one day and I watched these people repost people's hurt, people's trauma, people's deaths. One of my biggest fears to find out my mother, uncle, cousins, any person died via the internet. Now, it's hard to say my mother because where I live is somewhat in close proximity to my mom. So I would know before the internet knew. But what if one of my retarded cousins or aunts was at my mom's house and this happened to her, and she ran right to the internet before she called us and said,
it will happen.
And that's sick. It's sickening to think about. So I went on Facebook and literally started deleting pictures. It was a lot of reasons. I just started deleting pictures and statuses, and I got down right now, like on IG, I think I got like 6 pictures up there, and I'm about to take them off. Like I want nothing to do really with social media in that way, but I know me trying to put myself out there, I kind of some type of social media presence, but my personal business ain't never been on the internet. What's crazy is, do you know, when I meet people on the internet and I see them in person, they act like they don't know me. Like I can sit and talk to a motherfucker all day long. Yeah. Be on page. We going back and forth, jarring at each other. And I see them people in person and they will not speak.
That's crazy.
That's like real life. I watch people sit in social media like virtual reality and they live that life. That's a life. I just had a little lady friend tell me, I ain't like what you was putting on the internet. One thing you're putting on there, one moment you're super Muslim, next moment you're on there telling women who want $400. No, who want 250? This ain't no fraud. We just gonna do a little fucking. She like, it's certain stuff about you. Like, and I thought it was funny to say that. Like, I wasn't for no vagina. I was just, I'm talking shit. Like I had said, I want to pay for a bitch BBL. That wasn't for real. I was just playing. My God. Like I said, there's a lot of different facets of me. And one major aspect of me is I'm still a gangster. I'm still goofy. I still want to play. I like to have fun. And like when I found that people was taking my stuff on social media serious, I'm like, y'all don't realize I'll never talk like that to people in person. Yeah. Let alone let myself hear myself say it. I laugh at it. But you gotta be confident.
With that being said, you definitely had a streak of being mean. Do you feel like you've grown for that, or did you feel like that damaged you at all? Like
I'm a kid. I tell any person, I don't know how many people you got that's gonna watch this. I hope the millions and millions of people watch it because you're truly doing a great job. I believe it's like this.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm a kid. I'm a kitten.
But folks used to be scared of you, bro.
They still are. Truthfully, and I see it in the way that they try me. So I had to learn from Coach Tip. Anytime Coach Tip sees somebody, he hug them. I'd be like, Tiptoe. That's what I call him. I don't call him Coach. I call him Tiptoe. I say, Tiptoe, you don't know them people. He like, yeah, I know them people. But it stops them from being violent with me because it's past. So if I ever walk into somebody, man, what up, player partner? They probably got ill will intentions. But because remember this, G, people leave you where they met you in life.
Yeah.
They left you and they expected you to be that same person. It's so crazy that people see you where you once were and they never develop in their mind. Like you don't grow in their mind, only their stuff. And it's about them being self-centered in a way, being self-full in a way, being centered in a way to their stuff that they forget everybody else. So when they see me, they still anticipating that violence, that anger. And I'm like, I'm going from it. I tell everybody I love them, even if I don't mean it. I still love you. No problem. I love you, brother. Good seeing you. I hope I see you in the mall. And I'm going from it because I don't want no violence. Literally, I don't want to fight. I ain't got it in me no more.
I feel you. So what point in your life did you get to where you was like, I can't be, it's exhausting now. Like this is exhausting having to defend myself all the time. And I'm not even doing shit for somebody to, you know what I'm saying, feel like I'm attacking them. You was just being yourself. So I know you've had plenty of times like that where you was just being yourself and the motherfucker felt like you was attacking them and you had to defend yourself.
Want to know something that's crazy?
What?
I wasn't being myself.
Oh.
I wasn't. I was being who I thought I was supposed to be because the reputation of me, fun-loving, goofy. If I gave somebody my true self, my little brother Latuan, when me and I get together, we gonna laugh till 5 a.m. And when people see that about us, with Latuan to be like, boy, that motherfucker Paul retarded for real, bro. He crazy. And we got laughing and jokes. So that wasn't me. I just see me 100%. No violence, no altercations, just all love, man. And I got to this point when I said to myself, because remember, I always told myself, this is what I told me. And I might have told you too back in the day. I'm like, bro, I just want to be free. And I find that now I'm free. And it didn't come, I'm still working. I still meet people. I still meet people, females, people who literally, you know, the craziest thing, I meet people who still mad at then. And I have to ask about then, and then was 20 years ago. Then was afraid. Literally, I literally just went off on somebody a couple weeks ago talking because, you know, Lamont Dandridge hangs out with my family member, with a lot of my family members. And by extension, he's my family now too. Somebody fight between me and Lamar, me and Mario, and I'm like, these is my brothers. How dare you try to back what we got going on now, trying to like make jokes and laugh about the past? That's not cool.
Right.
You know, and so when I hear people say stuff like piggybacking to the original point of you saying, when did I pick this moment or when did this happen? It's still happening. I'm still working. I'm still developing, still growing.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to change the heart of me to see differently. So I accepted an old man personality. So, so I make
you always had a smooth, cool mentality about you. You know what I'm saying? And you might not know this is that when I first came to Crete, I think I went to Roosevelt in Chicago Heights. I went to Roosevelt when I first came to Crete in 7th grade. I had like a real identity thing going on, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't really know nobody and didn't really think nobody was gonna really speak to me like that. And then I smiled a lot. So the fact that I smiled a lot, I already had motherfuckers talking about, yo, gay ass dude, you always smiling, you always laughing. Of course. Yeah, something wrong with them. But I'll never forget, I had a class with I think I met you in gym. And I think I had a shirt and I think I had put Pimpin' Ken on it. And then since I had put Pimpin' Ken on it, you always call me that. You always call me that since 7th grade on out, bro. You always call me that. And I was like, that's what's up, bro. Like, cause you was in 8th grade, I was in 7th, bro. So you didn't have to speak to me, bro. Then you already towered over me. I was a fucking child. You know what I'm saying? But you was 100 with me.
I was a kid too, though. I was just tall.
I don't know, G. I don't know, because I ain't saying no names, but a couple of niggas was already selling weed in 8th grade. G. You know what I'm saying?
I was.
So where this nigga told us I was a kid, but hold on, bro.
But I'm saying, G, you talk about the past. You talk about the past, bro. Some of the stuff I did in my life, bro, I ain't proud of it. But
all right,
I was selling weed in 8th grade.
Hey,
I just look at my life, bro. Let me tell you a quick story. Quick.
Yeah, come on.
We was talking about having hoop dreams, right? Just recently.
Yeah.
Me, Jarvis, I mean, it might have been Willie, a few other guys was talking. And we was talking about hoop dreams. And Jarvis said something that was kind of like, it hurt my feelings, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, man, remember we always used to think we was going to go to the NBA and this and the third? I'm like, yeah, Blase Skip. Jarvis was like, no, Paul, you ain't really had no chance for real. I'm like, man, I'm like, what you trying to say? Weak or something? He's like, nah, bro. You had crack under your bed in 8th grade, bro. You wasn't going nowhere. And I said, damn, bro. That shit real. Like, that shit was real as fuck.
Yeah. And some of the shit me and you used to talk about, I'm gonna be here and I'm gonna bring this up, and then I just want to know if you remember this. After school, bro, we used to do this little thing so you can get your little extra credits or whatever the case may have been. You feel me? We used to go in there. I think it was the gym teacher. What was his name? Big ass Ninja Turtle calf muscles. Right now, or whatever his name was. Jensen. Nah, it wasn't Jensen. He was teaching us after school. But whoever it was, right? Little short, stocky motherfucker. Right. I think his name was Right Now or something. But
only person I remember from high school is Jensen. Jensen and Hall, because I just seen him.
Come on, dog. You know, you remember Nathan. You remember Miss G, Miss B. You remember her walking around with the Jerry curl with the jumpsuit. That's crazy. But look, we was in class. We was in class, and Shorty this one broad, I ain't saying no names, but this one chick, she was talking crazy to you. I mean, like talking out the side of her motherfucking neck. Like she was talking crazy, like real greasy. And you kept your cool. You kept your cool. Hold on, G, I'm gonna tell you what you said. You kept your cool. And she must have went too far. And you was like, what? You was like, you really talking shit to me like that? And I was like, oh shit, I didn't know what you was about to say. You was like, Shorty, you know I be selling your mama and your daddy crack. I was like, ooh. I was like, oh, and she didn't say nothing. I was like, folks BC. I'm like, folks serving her mama and daddy, G. He just said this shit in the middle of this class, G, and she said nothing. So she knew her mama. You remember?
I know who you but I apologize for that. I just apologized to her for that. Because it
That
was
was
true.
wild. It was true. I knew it was true because she didn't say shit.
It was true. And I apologize to that lady because, one, I went on this journey of apologizing to anybody that I think I may have hurt or offended, hoping that Elliot hurt and try to offend me. But also apologize to her because her mom and dad were friends of mine. Like I always help people as friends. Like I went to in 2015, 2016, because all my friends were like 65, 50, and 80. Like I had a lot of y'all parents became my friends. And I had to apologize because she went and told her mom and daddy that, and they stopped fucking with me.
That's crazy. That was crazy. She didn't have to cross that road. You said you was, I'm talking about you was so calm. You was so cool, but she just kept going and kept going. And you was like, woo. I was like, oh shit.
So that right there, that statement you just made brings insight into what I'm saying to you. I always knew who I was supposed to be. I always knew who I wanted to be. I just was willing myself to actually be that or do that. And now that I am who I am, I ain't afraid to make sure if somebody cussing me out or fighting or arguing with me, I can leave. I don't have to degrade you or belittle you back. I ain't gonna bring you to my level. I ain't gonna come to your level with it. I'm gonna kind of elevate and be better. So like I close my, or I tell a person, this is my favorite line. Baby, I'm going from it. You got it.
That's
you
it.
Got it. I'm going
from it. That's all.
And I move on. But back in the day, come on. Yeah. Female, I would probably snatch the wig off. If they was wearing wigs back in the day, probably try to coerce a friend of mine to whoop you, or some variation of something that had nothing to do with nothing. You know.
Yeah. Hey, what you know what? You know what's crazy is that I'm proud of you for the growth and the constant growth. That's always a good thing because at the end of the day, I tell women all the time when they be complaining about niggas, I still don't understand. They be complaining about men, especially black men at that. And I be telling them a lot, like, baby, that man look like a man. He might smell like a man, might walk like a man, got a car, got this, got that. I say, but that young man got a lot of problems he's never dealt with in his life. He's still a fucking child inside. And he needs a lot of help and shit that he hasn't expressed on. You know, a lot of people don't believe in counselors or don't believe in, especially black folks with therapists and counselors.
Where I come in, because Breathe Easier Counseling Service has been a major tool, not just for me physically in my personal life, but financially. Breathe Easier Counseling Service, I'm co-owner with my brother Mustafa with Breathe Easier Counseling Service. And in that counseling, we give real life counseling to people. Yeah. We give resources to people. When the Fort Heights Community Center was actually open and running and functioning, because before the pandemic kicked off, we'd be in there helping people apply for services like, financial aid, public assistance in any way without having to drive all the way to Blue Island or the city or Joliet or somewhere crazy like that. We had food banks open, and Breathe Easy Counseling Service was one of those things to where literally we would take a guy who might have been struggling with insignificant stuff. And it's because no one unpacked that thing for him that he was dealing with. He interpreted it to be something totally different. Like he took it over the moon with it. And the whole time it was something so small. Like it was literally so small. We talk about how problems grow with you as you got older.
Exactly.
So a little thing that happened to you when you was a little kid grew up and became this major problem. I'm in reflection of this. I remember being a kid and I used to hate coming home after school to watch my little sister because my mom was at work when she did work. And my mom was like, I'm like, well, I'm tired of coming on. I can't go kick it with my homies. I can't be in the world. I got to watch her legs. And my mama said, well, you go get the job and I stay home.
Right.
Damn. So as I got older, she actually did make me go get some money. And she stayed, so watch nobody no more. But I had to give up my change. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. We Breathe Easy Counseling Service has been a great tool. And I suggest anybody who needs any counseling help, any counseling references, even if you don't want to use me or my brother Mustafa, I'm actually in partnership with Will County Mental Health. And I have a great A lot of good ladies. Susan Rogue, Natasha, Stephanie. These are, when I tell you, good people. Natasha works at a Governor State University. Susan Rogue works at a Will County Mental Health Department in Joliet. These ladies I trust complicitly, and when I they'll get the job done. So if anybody needs milk, you know what I'm saying, like real life, holler at me. I'm a real open guy. I appreciate being on this platform because like I said, people still will look at me as that guy and don't know that I'll be a great asset to you and help you.
Right.
We just got to step to help.
You know what? It's crazy to me because people really feel like that. And this is this is something that's major to me. I date women of all colors. You feel me? But a lot of sisters I've dated have made me feel like, make you feel like you're soft for expressing yourself. Make you seem like, you know, it's something wrong with you for expressing yourself. But I really been on this mental health thing for a long time, because I knew a lot of people, like, for example, you seen Baby Boy. Yeah. You know, you remember how his homie Peanut, and remember how he'd be chilling, then next minute he'd be flipping out, wilding out. And some people said he was overdoing his acting, but I'm like, nah, I really know niggas like that. Yeah. I really know niggas that'll pop off like that, get up, demonstrate it, and then be calm, be like, y'all hungry? Like, it's people.
You just killed somebody. You forget.
Yeah. You forget. Yeah. So it's I 100%. You feel me? Like, I really need, like, women in general to realize that men go through the same shit that women go through in some ways mentally, meaning as in not feeling attractive, as in not feeling like nobody loves them, or feeling like not wanting to be hurt, or feeling like not wanting to be neglected, or wanting love. Like, guys feel the same shit that women, but I don't think a lot of women really realize that guys go through that type of shit.
I got a question to ask you. How do we? So we live in a new day, new era. More people are in touch with their feelings. They're probably not expressing them in the best way that they can. You know, I tell people all the time, anger, you know, being hurt, being angry, and being jealous are three different feelings and emotions, and they don't accept, or they're not warranted to have the same type of response. So because of somebody steps on your shoe and they make you angry, doesn't mean you have to kill, or you have to fight, argue. If someone breaks up with you, don't mean you have to bust their tire. Don't mean you have to cry. There are so many different other emotions that we can express, and that's where I believe it starts. But the question I want to ask you is, the day and time that we live in, how do we get to that point without demasculating ourselves or emasculating ourselves even more than we already are? Because we have men that are putting on this vibrato, right? And they putting forth their best effort of, I'm He-Man, to make sure you don't see him as Lil Mama. So how we do that?
I mean, if my thing is, at the end of the day, like you said, the day and age that we stay in, if you zesty, you zesty. I mean, it's just that.
Do you know how many women say I'm gay or think I'm gay?
And why is that? And my thing is, and I'm gonna say why is that. I'm gonna ask you why is that, and then I'm gonna answer.
Because them people I grew up around, all the old foes, all the old solid foes, my old Vice Lord buddies, they all talk with their hands, and them dudes be in there. Like my homie Chauncey. Chauncey I'll be around Chauncey. Chauncey will tell a story. He gonna say, Joe, man, man, I swear to God, Joe, a motherfucker tried to trap. It's talking with their hands, and they not snatching. Yeah, they move shit out the way. As he say, I ain't there like a broad. I'm moving that understanding out my way. And it's me being comfortable to say I like clothes. I'm gonna get a haircut every week, rain, sleet, or shine. I'm gonna wear good cologne. I have chicks that, or I have, I've gotten I got so used to saying anything somebody got, I hear you. I hear you. The chick be trying me behind this.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I'm cool
Because
with my.
because they would think that, but at the same time, it's the same thing with me. It's certain gestures that you may make, and they'd be like, "Oh, there's something wrong with them." Me with the smiling, they always seem like to find some type of. But my thing is that at the end of the day,
I would sit like this, sit like this. Yeah.
hey, me too, man. My son do it in this. My son do it in the back seat in this car seat. He literally.
My grandfathers, my uncles, my great grandfather, Lincoln McMurtry, may Allah be pleased with him, would sit here like this and talk to you. Yeah, I hear you won't do that. All right, going on there. I didn't think it was just that's their mannerisms.
All right.
I don't take nothing from nothing. I think your sexuality, first of all, your sexuality is based in your sexual preference.
Yeah.
Physically, it's your sexual. Truthfully, I know this is going to ruffle some feathers, but at the root cause of homosexuality is childhood molestation, sexual assault, or abuse. Prior to 1996, they had homosexuality listed in the Diagnosis and Medical Journal, or the Book of Diagnosis and Medical Journal, as a mental illness. They didn't take it. They didn't take it out of the book. And anybody who has anything or problem with what I'm saying, I don't feel this way. This is the information. Information that any psych one-on-one class will teach you if you go to one.
All right.
And root cause of homosexuality is childhood molestation, sexual assault, or abuse. The evidence for it was not found deemed incorrect, right, or incomplete, because an incomplete thought into the matter will be taken out because it cannot be judged to say, okay, this is a half brain thought. We'll put this back when we have this completed. It was taken out of the book because they found that it became normal. And the things that become normal in society becomes relevant. It's okay. It didn't take. So when you look at a person and you say, this person's identity is based in his sexuality, that's not necessarily true. Because how many gay men on the down low? They're not on the down low. That's how they choose to live their lives.
Exactly.
Because I know a lot of guys that came out the closet. Okay, Alex Ashley. I always knew Alex Ashley was going to be who he is today.
Yeah.
Never judged him for it.
Yeah.
My man Robert operates in a homosexual understanding. He's in a civil union or marriage with his husband. I love them people dearly. Robert's my boy.
Yeah.
Robert's a man's man. That ain't no punk.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I know.
Robert, I done had conversations with Robert and forget.
Yeah.
Literally forget.
Yeah. Exactly.
He happily married to his partner, but nonetheless, that's a gangster.
Right.
Motherfucker don't know that though. So
right.
Your homosexuality, first of all, is your sexual preference, not emotions and your feelings out. And if we don't teach this stuff,
exactly,
the right way, the worst thing you can ever give is work. The worst thing you can ever give to people is misinformed information.
I was just watching a guy that you mentioned to me, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I tried so hard to stay away from social media, so I didn't really pay him too much attention until you mentioned it to me the other day. But Dr. Umar, I went and listened to him talk about D Wade's son, and he was saying how it's no way in hell, basically, a 11-year-old boy can make the decision of him being a homosexual or him saying that he's a gay boy. He said, I could see if he was 16 or 17, but he said at 11 and 12 years old, you don't even have an identity yet.
And I say something that a lot of people, I love Dwayne Wade because he's from the hood. He's from the hometown. He played on my good Chicago Bulls. I actually wish I could have went to go see him play in the Bulls uniform. So when I have conversations with people, I remember that at the root cause of homosexuality is childhood molestation, sexual assault, or abuse. First of all, that's a broad spectrum of conversation. Sexual assault in a way does not have to always be necessarily someone touched you. Sexual assault can be you physically seeing someone else be assaulted. So you in hindsight take on the assault. Mental abuse in general is just not mental, it's not physical, it's not emotional, it's about spiritual abuse. right? Anytime somebody puts you in a position, do you know the definition of battery? Anybody doing something, someone doing something against you, right, that cause you physical pain or trauma. It doesn't necessarily have to be they struck you. Someone can verbally assault you. That's battery.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody can spit. That's chemical battery. So who knows? So because I filter everything through that sexual assault, a stigma, the abuse, I filter everything through that. And it shows me what happened to you that caused you to choose that lifestyle. Whether if it's your dad in the home beating the mom, now girl looks and she's afraid of the dad. So now she's afraid of the man who she's supposed to fall in love with first. And now she chooses to be what so she was afraid of her father and she decided to be the daddy. I'm gonna be a better patient because I don't want nobody to hurt me the way my daddy hurt my mom. So there's one or two things that happen with an abused person. They run to abuse or they become the abuser. Right? So happens in most people. They take on the characteristics of their sexuality in that. So you'll take a man looking at his father abuse women, he might resent his father in a way, right? And go look for a better daddy. That better daddy may, got love for you, you fall in love with him, then you end up putting yourself in a homosexual relationship. So for me, I don't believe Dwayne Wade's son is gay. I believe there will make him gay. I believe that he will be made to feel
So you think them embracing it is making him more make the decision to be a homosexual?
When you was a little kid, your mama told you, Kenny, you can eat as many cookies as you want to. I don't give a fuck what the dentist say. You wouldn't have a tooth in your mouth. You wouldn't have one.
Well, I would have been sick as a dog.
Because children do something that they're not supposed to do by nature. A child by nature is going to do what a child wants to do. And us as parents kind of corral them, pulling them back, right? And letting them go. Hopefully that we pull them back with enough of a reserve. We pull them back with enough strength that they could propel themselves to where they need to be in life. But oftentimes it doesn't happen. And that situation, he's not being guided. I'm not saying to any person who will listen to this to take what I'm saying and say that you're made homosexual. But you can kind of be steered in that direction. You understand?
Yeah, I believe that.
You can be steered in a way. And that's just not what homosexuality is. We're being straight. Do you know what makes you a heterosexual man? Seeing positive relationships between men and women and accepting that as your normal reality. Right? If you don't see positive examples of, and I'm not talking about for a John Brown fool that's gonna get on here and say, well, I was in the house with my daddy and my mama, and I still decided to like girls. Okay, well, let's deal with you being in the house with your mom and daddy. If your daddy did things around you that made you physically uncomfortable being around your mother, yes, he came home at night, but he drank like a fish and he beat your mom on Thursday. We have to take everything into effect. We talk about healthy, positive relationships. One major thing that I would say that men need to stop doing, trying to push these positive relationships in the way, is they need to stop walking up behind their wives in front of their children and slapping the mama behind. Your kids don't need to see that. That's not positive relationships. That's pornography.
So how does that make that pornography? Because I'm only asking just because I feel like at the end of the day, I want I mean to the extent of smacking ass, but at the end of the day, I want my kids to know how to love the opposite sex, how to show love to the opposite sex, and how to receive love from the opposite sex. So I feel like,
what you just said, though. What you just said. You want them to see how to show love. Love and sex, two different things. Totally different spectrums. We confuse love. My auntie, my Aunt Latrice, she's crazy as a fruit fly. And I remember when she was in her good right mind, she said, Paul, learn the difference between love, lust, and infatuation, because they all look the same.
That's facts. That's true.
That's lust. That's infatuation. Real love ain't sexual.
So it's not affection?
No.
It's not considered affection?
No. Those are the
So me
love.
coming home, to my lady,
Mhm.
hugging my woman, kissing my woman in the mouth, squeezing her ass, whatever the case may be. That's not me showing her affection. That's me lusting.
That's showing her affection, but that's not showing her love. That's
Oh,
that's the result of the love.
yeah, yeah.
So what makes a person clinically insane is a multitude of other things. But the biggest thing that makes a person clinically insane is they're operating within the insanity. You can be clinically insane. You can have mental issues. You can have mental stigmas or blocks on your life, right? But if you don't never act in these things, no one can classify. But if you're walking around here schizophrenic, you take your dreams, you're kind of operating within that faction of that. So you love her and you rub and caressing her in front of your children. That's you're operating out of the understanding of your love. That's not love. Sex ain't love. How many women you had sex with you ain't even know their names?
Hey, but you know what? You know what? That is true. But I also realized that one thing my uncle told me a long time ago. He was like, "You can go and fuck whoever the fuck you want to. You can fuck this person, that person, this person. But at the end of the day, who gonna be there for you to talk to? Who you gonna talk to?
That's love.
Yeah.
Now you hear what I'm so close connections and bonds is love. Kinships can be looked at as love. Partnerships can be anticipated as love. They can be looked at as a loving type of thing. But sex ain't love.
No,
Sex is sex.
not at all. But I'm doing it. Okay, like for example, I was gonna write a book, and I still plan on it. It's gonna be called No Love Lost, because I know a lot of people that don't know what love looks like, don't know how to be treated right, what it looks like to be treated right. So they go on to think that physical abuse is love. They go on to think that mental abuse is love. They go on to think that, you know, a motherfucker going upside your head and then telling you he apologized and buying you a gift is love.
Being
You know,
being promiscuous oftentimes is not looked at as being abusive to a person. It's a lot. We're so miseducated as to what love is. I just told my cousin, ain't no such thing as love. My grandma said a long time ago, and he didn't know why he said it. He just was talking shit. He said, "Hey, I don't believe in that love." He said, "Because I didn't hear women tell me they love me, and I had seen them 20 years from there, and they said they don't love me no more. They couldn't have loved me when they loved me." I say, yeah, that's kind of the thought. But then I remember just reading the dictionary. Me and my homegirl, me and my friend Bonnie, we was reading the dictionary because she was asking me about some words. And one word that we were on, and I actually talked on this for a long time, was the word spirit. What does the word spirit mean? What would you say?
Spirit. I wouldn't know anything to say, but its spirit is a spirit, a soul. That's what I would call it.
Spirit derives from the Latin word spirites or spiritus sanctus, which means to breathe. Has nothing to do. If you were in England and you would say spirit, they would think you were talking about libation, and they would say you were drunk with spirit or drunken, right? Same way with love. Love has most contextual definitions than any other word in the dictionary. Love, one of those words to where it's love, love less, love more, paramour, morata, etc., etc. They have the most definitions because every language, every society, every culture has their own understanding of what love means. And when you start talking of love, oftentimes is matched with love is oftentimes matched with a physical property behind it, a monetary. I love this lady because this lady took care of me when I was down in my last. Well, when you went down at your last, do you still love her? I love her because this lady come home me at night. Well, what about when she want to stay out with her friends? I love this man because he take care of me financially. What about when he broke? I love this lady, that BBL. What about when she don't go to the gym and maintain that BBL? You gonna still love her? All these things are carrying physical properties, what is love? What's love?
Right.
I think for me, love is understanding. Love me just because, like God said, like Jesus says, yet still above all things, I wish that you be in good health and you be well. That's it. That's love. Wishing that even if I don't see you and I don't know nothing about you, just because I want to, I hope that you are in good faith and you are in good health and you're in good spirits. And I don't got to know you no more. I just hope. That's love. I think that's the best love. Just because I want to. It don't have to have a reason. You can't do nothing to stop me from loving you. You can't do nothing to make me love you. I love you because we in this. And I love you. That's it.
So my question is, you say no to grabbing the ass, and when it comes to this showing your children, making sure they get the right idea, you know what I'm saying, a good example. How would you go about that? What would you do? You know what I'm saying, like, because it can't just be like, because you got to explain to them. Well, first of all, they're gonna see that like right now I'm with me talking to somebody or dating. My kids are little. Right. So they're young enough to feel like whoever's around me has been around their whole life. Say they hit 10, 13, 14 years old.
Their whole life.
Right. So my whole thing is that I do want to leave a good example of how a woman should be treated, and how I should, what as a man, I wasn't taught that growing up. I wasn't taught this is what you should accept from a woman and this is what you shouldn't accept. This is how you should be treated. I was always taught open the door for the woman. You know what I'm saying? Make sure she's on the inside of the sidewalk when y'all walking down the street. Make sure she's, everything was for them, but I was never taught what I should expect for myself as a man from a woman.
What I give to people when I do relationship counseling. When you first meet a person, right, after a date goes by and you guys choose to deal with each other further, first thing I ask the person to do is write 10 expectations that you have for that person. And after you write 10 expectations for what you have for that person, write 10 expectations for what this person should have for you. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't leave any misunderstandings there. And all these things kind of, the gray area goes away. So if I expect from my woman, and make sure when you write your expectations, they are the hardest examples of you. Let a person know, this is what I expect and this is what I'm going to get. I'm not necessarily saying I'm going to have it every night, but I expected this stuff. Can you give it to me? And if you're not trying to get it, So to answer the question.
How do you show that to a child?
How you show it to a child?
How do you set expectations for a young man to know how to be treated by a woman, for him not to go out here and get finessed by a woman, for him not to go out here.
You show it in your actions. You show it in love. You show it in compassion. You show your children that you've been hurt. Let them see you've been hurt so they can learn from you. Hopefully, let me be the shield in between. So when my children are backs up against the wall, they ain't touching the wall, they touching me. Let me be right. Let them see you hurt. Let them see them tears. Most of us hide that from our kids. We don't want our kids to know that we just got our heart broke. And then explain it to them. Talk they ill. Tell them too much. Tell them all that too much good stuff about, I went on a date and it didn't plan out like it was supposed to. But it's okay. I'm just a little upset. Talk them through feelings. You know what I'm saying? Because they gonna have a date. And when they go through their date and that date don't plan out like it's supposed to, and they come home crying and whining in the back of their mind, my daddy went through the same thing and it's okay.
Right.
Okay. Right. You ain't gonna die. I hope so. So there's a in Benjamin Button, the movie, there's a message at the end of that movie that I want everybody to ever watch. Just watch it. When he got to a point where he was getting younger, and he sat at the Ganges River in India, and he wrote a letter to his daughter, right? And he started the letter stating, "I'm writing this letter as I remember it," because he was starting to get old again. And he said, "I'm writing this letter so I can remember it, and I hope that when life doesn't go the way that it's supposed to go, I hope
Mm-hmm.
you have courage to start over. Do you know how hard starting over is?
Oh yeah, especially for those that that's not okay with change.
They get stuck. He said, I
Mm-hmm.
hope that you start over. If we could put that understanding and that ideology in our children, because there's no perfect parent. I got 3 children. There's no perfect parent. There's no perfect way of doing things. There's never any lack of, you ain't gonna be perfect in this. So because you're not gonna be perfect, right? When life happened to you, I hope that you can take what happened and start over.
Yeah,
Start over. Try something
yeah,
else. It didn't work
that's
for you.
real.
Start
Yeah,
something else.
and
And
that's
that's
and
what
that's
start
that's
over.
yeah, yeah, and that's real. Okay, so my next question is how long you been Muslim?
As the brother Minister Louis Farrakhan would say, I've been a Muslim all my life. All my life. As he would say. He said, I was born a Muslim. He said, it's in your nature. He said, the nature of the black man is very complex in a way. One major aspect of his nature is submission. This is why being a slave was easy for us, because we were a submissive people. It was easy for us to submit to any person who came to us, whether it be forced, not forceful. Anyway, they came to you. This is what they had us do. We would do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So what's
so
so what's the so what's the I just want to know. I watch a lot of videos. I watch a lot of videos of like Christians going back and forth with Muslims and arguing about this and that. And the Muslim always came with facts. Like they were always like, looking for facts, but the Christian way is to, not question the Lord's work, and it's
but
not to question anything.
not Christianity, there's Catholicism.
Hmm.
Catholicism is the Catholic faith.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Catholicism teaches us, or teaches them, not to question the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Christianity teaches us, the Bible says, seeking you shall find.
Mm-hmm.
So how am I asking a question? How is that a problem? God told me to ask the question, fool. I ain't doing nothing other than what the Creator
So
told
so wording is in my grandmother used to do it all the time when I didn't really understand something, she didn't really understand something. She would say she was being tested and his will be done. So
me. Like,
when she had no answer, really no answer, it was like his will be done. Like I don't question it.
you know where that come from?
But the Muslims was like like they was like, look, this is that, this is this. How can
Well,
you sit here?
I would hate to say this is because I would hate to say, if you took population size, right?
Yeah.
You took Christians. What divides us actually brings us closer together. First of all, I want to state that. But as a Muslim and a Christian, if you put the population size in the same room,
Yeah.
Christian Muslims kind of weigh each other similarly,
Mm-hmm.
especially the Christians that actually practice. So the
Mm-hmm.
thing about being a Muslim is that it is a requirement that you read the Quran or the Quran. It is not a requirement to be a Christian to read the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Every Muslim has to know the Shahada. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa barakatuh bismillahir rahim magid. Every Muslim know this. They know it verbatim. They know it just as well as, but I know a lot of people that call themselves Christians that don't know Jesus' Last Supper prayer. He said at the table with his disciples, and he asked his disciples, they said, Lord Jesus, they actually said, Rabbi, how shall we pray? And Jesus said, Our Father that resides in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, etc., etc., etc. I know more Muslims, the Hada, more than
Mm-hmm.
Christians, last prayer, the Last Supper prayer.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. They're made, on one hand, to pray and to have reverence in it. These people are meant to just believe in grace, blessing, and mercy. The brother Minister Louis Farrakhan would say, they are not Christians, they are Christian enthusiasts. And it's okay. You are enthusiastic about being a Christian, you're not a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
The Muslims can actually say that they're more Christian than the Christian themselves.
Hmm. Why is that? Well, then that's because they don't have to. You don't have to know the Bible or read the Bible to be a Christian. Then
Yeah,
is that why?
yes, because in Catholicism, it is permitted, it is actually frowned upon for you to read the Bible yourself. You
Mm-hmm.
read it, and the rabbi, not the rabbi, but the bishop, the cardinal would read out of the book. You would say your Hail Marys. Have you ever seen a Catholic church? They
No.
sit
Mm-hmm.
and in concert, they eat their wafers and they get up out of there in 5 minutes. Ain't
Yeah,
no reason.
that
No
that
reason.
is very. Hey, I've seen that before.
Ain't nobody picked up a book. But as the brother minister with Louis Farrakhan would say, just because they're doing this doesn't make your grandma's 2-hour church service any better, because they heard the word, they was in the word, but ain't heard none at all.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't ask they left about a 3-hour service? Man, what the preacher talk about? Do you know you're a Christian by blood right? What is the shortest verse in the Bible?
I couldn't tell you nothing. I have no idea. Honestly, I would tell you. I don't know. Weapon formed against me shall prosper.
Nope.
I have no clue.
Jesus wept is the shortest verse.
Oh,
Jesus heard a preacher preach for 2 hours of 2 words. How? You could have gave some more stuff in that. You could have talked to people better. And that's what the brother minister, Louis Farrakhan, wanted us not to do. He wanted us, when he gave us charge over the people, to go amongst the people. First thing he told us was, he said, learn the Bible.
mm-hmm.
He said, go to them in a way that they will understand it and they'll be able to deal with it. So I can make you Muslim by making you the best Christian.
Mm-hmm.
If you were the best Christian, there would be no need for Muslim. There would be no need for.
You know what? I never had to. I had so many homies that are Muslim, and put me on, and I listen to them, and I really mess with what they saying to me. But I just never had the consistency or the drive in me to follow through. And the same thing, and to be honest with you, when it comes down to Christianity, I don't call myself a Christian. I would never call myself a Christian because that's not the case. And I really, me personally, if I had to choose, like religion, it would it would probably 9 times out of 10 be the Muslim, the Islam, nation. But outside of that, I mean, honestly, I feel like religion it separates us, bro.
Yeah, but see, the people don't judge the religion by the people who practice it. Don't do it.
I like that.
Because in the Middle East, they don't follow Islamic law by way of the Holy Quran. They follow Islam by the laws of Shira or Shira.
Mm-hmm.
Shira, people not to drive, that the women can't drive, and it subjugates the woman, and it does certain things that ain't even in the Bible, that ain't even in the Quran. Also, hadiths, right, govern Islamic law, not the Quran.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think
what about the Israelites?
That's my mother would say that's a new religion. It just got made up because the people were not able to accept Jesus.
Really? So I thought, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought the Israelites was the what are they in New York? The 5%ers or the 1%ers?
No, 5% of God's nation. That's Islam.
That's Islam. Okay. Because I would see these cats stand outside across the street from each other.
Yeah.
And
love, truth, freedom, justice, and peace, as the moles say. Love, truth, freedom, justice.
But yeah, I definitely. So my next question is, outside of that, is so you really you fucking with Dr. Umar then, like, and what he be talking, and what about Young Pharaoh? You know who Young Pharaoh is?
Heard of. You know what? Umar Johnson, because what Umar Johnson is saying is what I was taught all my life by my grandmother. My grandmother talked to me about Black understanding. I won't date a woman that's not a Black woman. If I want a Cuban woman, a Spanish woman, and she gotta have me. Truthfully, because my grandmother raised me deep in that Bible. Let me tell you what the Bible says: you have to be equally yoked with a person. Most people don't understand what that means. Yokes will bind, right? No matter if they're separate in a bowl. But the yolks in the bowl, try it tonight. You get home when you get after Zoom. Put two yolks in the bowl, regardless of what egg they come from. They gonna get together. Especially if you move away from the if you take the egg whites out, the yolk will form together. It'd be one. They may be
Yeah.
separate for a while. They'll go back to one. What it means to be equally yoked is I'm the same as you. You have a simulated life in a way to where I can deal with you. And it's sad to say the world we live in is so separate. We was taught as kids that we live in a great melting pot when really we live in a tall salad. We're all in there together with our own understandings, our own religions, our own cultures, our own theologies, and we're all in the same bowl together, dealing with each other, but we're separate. And it's okay to be separate.
Yeah.
But then because you're separate, you don't have to be or think or operate like you're better than anybody. And that's the problem that we have today.
Mm-hmm. So when it comes down to his views on women, black women at that, our sisters at that, like what do you think about that between him and Kevin Samuels? Because I listen to Kevin talking, and Kevin, hey,
I love Kevin,
man.
You know what? You know why Kevin is important. Kevin is important, and he says it. Nobody just hears him say it because you're so ready for the divisiveness of what he's saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he'll say something on the lines of the reason why I'm going at these young ladies the way that I'm going at them is because they have made us irrelevant, average men who ain't balling like Bo Diddley. They made us.
Mm-hmm.
They made, especially when he started talking about the average earned income for men, not median, but the average earned income for black men in particular is $32,000. That's a little more than $15 an hour. Most bad chicks don't want $15 an hour. They want a scammer, a dope dealer. They want a trick nigga. They want somebody that cashed his pension out and gonna die broken alone to get that money. That's who they want. And what he's saying to the people is that why she thinks she bad because she thinks she's so such a much because she didn't win. I just recently had an encounter with a young lady who just got her BBL done, and she lied to me and act like I didn't know what a BBL looked like. She lied to me talking about something. I just got my boobs augmented and I got an undertuck. And this bitch, I know what a fake ass look like when I see one. It was a good fake, but it was okay. And chicks can do that. They can get BBLs and breast augmentations and tummy tucks and skin removed and this. And men, we can't do too much to be other than be. I can't not be Paul, and there's nothing I can do to make Paul not be Paul. Ain't no S implants or I can get some fat removed off of me, but for what? I like this here. This is me.
Right.
You know, I'm okay with me, and he's important for it. But the reason why people are upset with Kevin Samuels and the divisiveness of what he's saying is because they ain't never heard nobody. Like for me, I grew up in a household to where my grandmother was the driving force behind cussing a young lady out. You walk around here like don't nobody love you, and you walk around with that bonnet on. Don't no man want to accept that, and they ain't had that. So people in their life, they had young mothers, they had young fathers. You talking about, you know how many young women I'm around to where when I come in their houses, I have to tell their daughters, hey, your daughter needs to cover herself up. One, because it is particularly important that there's a boundary between men and women. Yeah, but she in her house, she shouldn't have to cover herself when she in her own house. You invited somebody in your house and you gonna let them see your daughter naked? You crazy? Mm-hmm. This is we teaching our daughters that there's no, let me tell you about why it is important, why it is particularly important that we as people know that it's okay to be separate. When I tell men that you're not supposed to be unclothed around your children, including your daughters, including walk around your house with your boxer drawers on, because your hard penis in the morning that's full of urine, you hear me, is not for sexual understanding. You gotta pee. You walk past your daughter in the bathroom with a hard penis. What make you think that she don't think that that's for her? Mm-hmm. Because kids have their own way of interpreting sexual understanding, and they'll have sexual understanding or encounters in their lives before we know that they will. Mm-hmm. How you don't know that that's for her? How can you differentiate to tell her this hard dick is just daughter because I got to pee? This ain't for you, baby. Who wants to have a conversation with their daughter? My daughter had her first period when she was in my house. I didn't know what to do. Mm. Who wants to talk about that? I didn't know what to do. I called her mama. Hey, we got an issue. I need help. And the reason being is because, one, I didn't want to make my daughter uncomfortable. I knew I could have went and got sanitary napkins and panty liners, and I know how to do that stuff. I ain't crazy. But who wants to deal with it? And then why would I want my daughter to feel, damn, my dad is in the middle of this? So there has to be some type of reckoning of understanding between men and women, and knowing what women are supposed to do and how men are supposed to live, and then vice versa. That we are not the same. Right. If we are, I'm scared. Because I don't want a woman to I don't want a woman to act like me. And I hope a woman wouldn't want me to act like her. Because I don't know no grown woman. I ain't talking about little girls playing like they're grown women. I don't know one grown woman that is attracted to men that is out here looking for themselves in a man. Mm-hmm. The women I know, they're looking for men to be men. They ain't looking for him to be, as my grandma would say, a sissy-fat punk. And that's my grandma words, not mine. Yeah. I think they're looking for that. Yeah. Kevin sounds important, man, because anytime that man got on there, he told a woman, so Beyonce is a 7. You think you're on Beyonce's level, Miss Lady? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm finer than Beyonce. Come on, knock it off, lady. You ain't. You ain't so such a much. And then guys get on there and they get to jumping on the man back. Kevin, you a goofy. You are this and you that. And the man, Kevin, open his mouth and say something that's very prophetic in a way. He says, do you know, stupid, if you met her in the street outside of this program and you try to talk to her, she would give you the time of day, and you defending her? Mm-hmm. You defending her. What make you keep wanting to be her defense mechanism here? And she wouldn't give you the same. I love it, but I appreciate the man coming to the woman's defense. Appreciate it. But as he would say, stop running to their aid and they ain't running to yours. Mm-hmm. I love him for it. I think if they were more, if they was more in tune with people like Shizarad Ali, the most honorable minister Louis Farrakhan, if they was in tune with Betty Shabazz, her sister Betty Shabazz, if they were in tune with some black women who really, 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 really dealt with this type of stuff on the daily, they would know that what Kevin's saying ain't wrong. He just being divisive in a way. Anytime you get on the internet and tell a woman ain't good for shit but to be on her knees, you gonna get, that's clickbait. Yeah, he's trying to operate in his platform. Yeah. That's all. But if you really listen to what that man would say, I think he had a statement. He had one of his topics was just recently, what good would a woman be without a man? And everybody on there, the world we live in, the men is the problem, and this, that, and the third. Stop thinking men the problem. We are equally, collectively messed up. Mm-hmm. It ain't just me. It ain't just you. Equally messed up. But he said something that was important. I want to reiterate this to your audience. He said, if every man on the earth died right now, and they were left with limited women on the earth, and you had to go get water, what would be the first thing you did after when you first got the water? Mm-hmm. Some of the women would say, I would take the water back. By the time you took the water back, what would you do with it once you took it back? I would drink the water and plant food with it, and this, that, and the third. Well, any person in their right mind know that if you get drinking water outside in the street, you have to decontaminate the water. Mm-hmm. Especially if it's standing water. Standing water is not for drinking consumption. Flowing water is. You would be poisoned and die within a matter of days drinking water in the street. You go and drink out of a puddle right now on the street out there raining. Actually, it's against the law of the United States for a reason to collect rainwater in your backyard for drinking consumption. It's against the law because certain rain carries microbial bacteria that will cause you to get sick on top of just not being sick, we talk about high levels of acid rain, high concentrations of calcium deposits in the water, where you can't drink it, right? You live in a place like Chicago, when it rains, you smell how dirty the area is. You live at a field or a country field, you'd be like, oh, it smells like rain out here. No, you smell the things that are around that smell like, you know. How about you move closer to where your water source is so you don't have to go nowhere? And these are all the things when I heard those women get to saying how they didn't need a man to do this and they didn't need a man to do this. You do. We need each other. And I think, again, like we were talking about with the Islam and the Christian thing, it is more things in life that brings us together than separates us. And if we focus on the things that make us different, you know, I ask Black people and white people things like, I was in a bar having a conversation with a guy from the LGBT plus community, and he was saying being a homosexual man is harder than being a Black person in America. And I told him, how? You chose that. I didn't choose this. Well, I didn't choose mine either. Okay, cool. You can say you didn't, but you choose to operate, or you chose to publicly operate as a woman, right? I was not born with this. I wasn't born to take this off. I was born Black, I'm gonna die Black. And when he was talking this stuff to me, I was telling him, like, we're putting a peg in between us to make us different. When in actuality, you bleed like I bleed, right? You breathe like I breathe, right? On a RNA-based level, we are similar. DNA-based level, we are the same. Stop trying to make us be different because you think one is better than the other. Black and white. Black and white. The brother Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us again to say, the only thing that makes you better, Black man, is that you do better. But the moment that you walk around here and think just because you're a Black man that you think you better, and that's my gripe. That's my problem with them Hebrew Israelites. They walk around talking about how much the Black man is better than that devil that came out them caves, etc., etc. That's unnecessary. One of my greatest friends in this world was named James. He was a white man that killed himself. He was going through some issues and decided to take his life. But he was a white man. And I'm so pro-Black, right? My pro-Blackness does not mean, and it don't mean it just means I'm okay with being Black, right? I'm so okay with my Blackness. Okay.
So my question is that how do you feel about the fact that, you know, it was really white folks out there rioting during this Black Lives Matter movement? Like, and I had a homie in Kentucky, and he was like, bro, it was folks outside, it was white folks outside rioting that just called me a nigga the other day. He was like, so what the fuck y'all outside rioting for? You know what I'm saying? Like, chaos.
Let me deal with that. Because I was one of the people out there when I seen it. The first day in Chicago that they went to riot. Chicago was rioting before the world was. Chicago, truthfully, we may have Tayshaun Lee, and I believe it was the brother that just passed away. I mean, that got killed.
Well, they tore shit up in what was that? St. Louis, Ferguson.
St. Louis first, right? So long, pause. When it happened in St. Louis, Chicago was out there protesting first. We was out there. I remember the first night I got it documented. I seen a police wall. They had a wall of police officers shoulder to shoulder, and they was pushing the people back south off of State Street. This was before the rioting, before the looting. And I remember a couple of days after that, they were all looking for the brother minister in the Nation of Islam to say something and to speak out. And what they do not know is that there was a robocall sent out to us tonight. Now, I'm not an active member anymore at the moment with the Nation of Islam because I didn't recertify my letter with the Nation of Islam but I am 100% with the brother minister. I'm for what he's for. I stand with him to the point to where if he wants my life, he can have it. That's how I'm with the brother. And the brother minister, Louis Farrakhan, instructed us not to do anything, not to go out and help, not to stand in solidarity, not to protest or march. And the people were asking for the minister to say something. And the reason why he didn't say anything until that Valentine's Day is because one reason in particular. The brother minister, have you ever heard of the Final Call newspaper?
No.
The Final Call newspaper is a newspaper that is published by the Nation of Islam. You know, them newspapers are being
they be handing out over on Stony. Yeah.
on 79th Street, Stony
Mm-hmm.
Island. Anytime down in Dallas too.
Yeah, they do that. They do that in Dallas too.
You see somebody with the bean pads and the newspapers.
Yes, sir. On the corner and everything. Yeah.
Get one of them newspapers. On the back of that that newspaper is published once a week by the Nation of Islam independently. Any little help that you can offer, because Black-owned newspaper for Black people. It ain't all Muslim stuff in there. There's job references in this newspaper. There's articles about Black upcoming businesses, artists, poets, painters. It's not just all Nation of Islam stuff. But on the back page, there's a standing article on the back page of this. It's the economic plan for Black people. This plan in particular is very particularly important to note that this is the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's plan, but it's not his plan. The plan goes and it states verbatim that the Black man needs to leave and go somewhere for a time, a short time, to be with himself, to deal with himself. And the United States government should help us similarly to what they did to the Native Americans. We can go into so many different facets of that statement. This is why the Hebrew Israelites go and they nationalize themselves, right? They go to the courthouse and they go down there and they ratify themselves as a person, because they're saying that I'm not a slave, I'm not an African, I am before an African, I was here in America, because we know that because of misinformation, we believe that we're slaves. We believe that we were all the slaves. No, that Native American person is you.
Mm-hmm.
You, like the first Black person. Let's look at the island of Manhattan. Then the island of Manhattan in New York City was inhabited by an Aboriginal indigenous people named the Manhattoes. The Manhattoes, in fact, were West African. They were not that red-faced Native American, but they were Native Americans because they lived here for such a great time, to where they established a land named after themselves. When we see Native Americans, we talk about the four major tribes: the Sioux, the Sacs, the Cherokee, and the Blackfoot. But no one talks about the California Indians. If you Google the California Indians, right, just your homework, Google California Indians, they look just like me and you.
Mm-hmm.
Dark, you, ain't no red pigmentation to their skin. Them Black folks, and it ain't just because they were in the sun. It's because you would see that they were you. Mm-hmm. But the brother says this because when they were handing out land grants, right, and land stake settlements, the reason why the Black man was not able to get it is because what we call ourselves, African American.
Mm-hmm.
We are the only people that takes the names of not a place, but two continents, mm-hmm. named after two white people. Mm-hmm. America's named after Amerigo's Vespucci, right? The mm-hmm. Italian map maker that founded the Americas. And Cyprios Africanus, conquering general of Rome that conquered East Africa, which we modern day call Ethiopia, which they call Ethiop, meaning Black land. So we're the only people in America that call ourselves two different continent names. And it was because they didn't know where we come from. So back to that economic plan, that was not a plan that he made up. That was a plan that he accepted from who? White folks. Mm-hmm. There's something that was very important to know. When Abraham Lincoln, before he signed the Emancipation Proclamation, there were several documents. You can look them up. Any person that cares to know the information can look it up, and you could read the information to say the only way the Africanized slave will be free is if we give them a land stake settlement of their own to call their own, a place that they can settle, development, and have as their own. This is what they said. They originally thought about Haiti because at the time, Haiti just won their independence from France, was looked at as a horrible place to be. They said, mm-hmm. They said send them back to Africa, but they didn't know where they got us from in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And they said give them a land in the United States, similarly to how they did the Native Americans, right? None of this ever happened. Then we start going into 40 acres of mule and all that stuff. These are the documentation that gave relevancy to 40 acres and a mule. This was the document that was left out of the amendment that gave us the 16th Amendment that freed the slaves along with the Emancipation Proclamation. This document, the only way the Africanized slave will be free is if we give them a land state settlement of their own. This was information that led up to 40 acres and a mule. We don't hear this one, but we hear this one. So on the back of that newspaper, it gives this economic plan because the black man needs to go. Anytime situation being in America to where, so they say, I just heard somebody say the stupidest thing in the world to me. They said that black men, there's no person alive on either side of the aisle that has been a slave or owned a slave. So you can go into the understanding to say that we are still living in a Jim Crow pro-slavery situation, but I got something better for you. I grew up with my great-grandfather being Lincoln McMurtry. And I remember Lincoln McMurtry was old country boy. Old country boy. I remember him telling me when he moved from Cairo, Mississippi to Chicago Heights. I remember him telling me when he came here. He was my grandfather. And when he talked to me about Cairo, I remember this is my great-grandfather. My great-grandfather was alive to meet his great-grandson, which is my nephew, Tavares Jr. So if we, and Silas Jr., to where when Mr. McMurtry, as we called him, Daddy or Mr. McMurtry, when he died, Silas and Lil Tavares were playing with him in the casket. Like, we had to go over there and get him, like, man, leave Daddy alone. But they used to, that's their great-granddaddy, that's their great-great-granddaddy. He letting them play. And I say this to say this. I say all that to say this. They sat at the feet of Mr. McMurtry, and they heard Mr. McMurtry's stories about those Jim Crow slavery days and sharecropping, et cetera, et cetera. So even though Boogie, as I call him affectionately, and Silas never knew that Jim Crow slavery, that post-slavery understanding, they have none of that. They have a close tie to that because their great-great-grandfather told it to them. So the same way with that white man. Yes, he's more tolerant because he has to be, because he live in a world that if he said nigga, it's a good chance when black boys gonna get on your behind. Right? But he said at his great-great-grandparents' foot too. And he told him that the nigga ain't no good. Don't trust him.
Exactly. Racist. I feel like this shit is taught. It's definitely taught.
It's handed down. Dave Chappelle said something that's real fucked up. Dave Chappelle said, have you ever been inside of a thrift store? I'm like, yeah. He said, man, why y'all ain't never seen one of them KKK hoods that they people didn't do that stuff away out their house? You ain't never seen them. They ain't gave them away. They passed them down from family member to family member. You ain't never been inside of an AMVETS, a Salvation Army, or secondhand thrift store, Goodwill, and seen no KKK hood. You ain't never seen one. They passing it down to their children. Violence, man.
No.
That's a fact for them.
That's crazy.
Subjugate niggas.
Man.
Subjugate. Just to know, and the fact that we live in America. So why the brother minister instructed us not to get out there and fight and argue, because two reasons. Anytime there's only been one power in the world, there's only been one power in the world to beat the United States on their own home. My uncle, who served in Vietnam, would say the Vietnamese kicked the United States behind. The United States just pulled out before it got bad, and they actually declared a victory. It is the Cuban people. The Cuban people beat the United States at their own game in Cuba. One, because they knew the terrain, and guess what else they had? They had the power backing of who? Russia. Russia helped Cuba whoop the United States. We don't have no Russia in the United States. We don't have no land, no country that's backing black folks. So if we get into a fight with these people in the United States, you're bound to lose. So the brother minister teaches us, when you are faced with these people who want to cause you problem and harm anyway, put your hands up, show them you don't mean no harm. I find it funny that everybody look at Malcolm X and they say by any means necessary. That's a famous quote, but don't know nothing about Malcolm. It's a famous.
Hey, but James Baldwin and Malcolm X really thought Martin Luther King was a punk. Yeah, they felt like he was Uncle Tom. They called him Uncle Tom most of the time. They said, because how can you go out here and tell your people to fight nonviolence with violence? And you know what I'm saying? That's basically telling us to lay down for the white man. And Malcolm X was saying to stop singing and start swinging.
And that's where Elijah Muhammad silenced Malcolm X. And rightfully so. Malcolm X was out of his body. He was wrong.
Silenced.
Well, we can all, any person that's a member of the Nation of Islam, you submit your will to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and the brother minister Louis Farrakhan. I live my life 100% according to what the brother minister tells me to do. And if he tells Paul, shut your mouth because you're doing more damage than good. See, remember, we are not operating for ourselves. We're operating for the betterment of the people. And me stuff that's why anytime we were talking about LGBT or anything, I would say these are not my words, and I have no problem with them people, because at the end of the day, them black people. You feel? So anytime black people involved, I gotta wrap my arms around them and swallow my pill and say I'm for them. So if a black LGBT man is getting abused for being who he decides and desire to be, I gotta help him. Why? That's my brother.
Right.
No matter what orientation, that's my brother. And the reason why Malcolm X was silenced is because Malcolm X was bogus. Malcolm X, you talking about somebody a punk, and you know there's rules to being in the Nation of Islam. One major rule is there's no weapons permitted. There are no weapons permitted. No man in the Nation of Islam walk around with a gun. The most that you're allowed to have is a penknife. You are not a weapon, because even if you're registered to have that weapon, it is not permitted that you carry one around, because you'll be dealt with harshly towards a people who already wants to hurt you. So if with me, if I ever got pulled over by a police officer or any officer, I don't meet the officer with violence. I can't remember the gentleman's name on Facebook, but he used to go live every time he got pulled over. And I used to be on that man live saying, "Is you a stupid motherfucker? Stop arguing that officer. Stupid, you losing. I want you to come home. I want you to live. I want you being better with a person that has the upper hand." Why? Because he has the law on his side, right? And he has legal authority outside of the law, which is this Jim Crow thing to say I'm better than you anyway, right? Why would I? So brother, you know your license is valid. You know your license is valid. You know your insurance is valid. You know you got enough money to pay that ticket. Take the ticket, go to court, come home. You with a devil that want to hurt you. You the fool in the mouth. Malcolm X was a fool, an educated fool, but a fool no less to tell people fight back, right? The people. Let me tell you something. It pissed me off every time Black History Month come around and people talk about, do you know how much strength it takes to know that you can whoop a cracker behind and don't do it? That's real strength. That's real restraint. Restraint is knowing that I'm able to cause you harm and I don't do it. That's a strong person. That ain't a weak man. That's a strong. And then to know that even if I fight you anyway, I'm gonna lose. Kanye said something that was very important. I want to make mention of it. Kanye said, "We chose to be slaves."
Yeah. He said eventually. What he said was, I quote, he said that all those years, basically over time, it became a choice. You know what I'm saying? But you know, Harriet Tubman said the same thing. You know what I'm saying? She said, I saved thousands, but she said it was also others that I could not save.
because they didn't know they were slaves. I'll give you something even better. Do you know why they when they brought slaves from Africa, why they moved ports so much? Do you know why they moved the port so much? They moved to shallower waters and they changed the ships because those black women and men. And then you know why they start putting the black folks in the halls of the ships and not above the boat. They started making boats to house the people in the belly opposed to on top. It was more economically pleasing for them to keep the niggas. Shit, chain them to the wall. Fuck it. We ain't got, we got enough room up here, and we'll be down low doing them harsh weapons. The reason why they black folks down below, and they said we gonna stay up here and deal with these harsh elements for one major reason, because them black folks were jumping off the boats. Yeah, they was, and the fact that is documented in Maryland. If you because when I go out of town, I like going to historical landmarks. Like when I went to the Lincoln Memorial, I put my hand up against the Lincoln Memorial, not because I wanted to touch it. I want to see if I can feel them heart. I want to feel the black folks that's buried in the foundation. Mm-hmm. I'm in remembrance with the John Hancock building. When they were developing the John Hancock building in New York City, they found a black slave burial ground, and they came in at night where nobody could see, and they filled the hole with cement. Right? I want to feel our brothers who died for this. Right? Mm-hmm. In Maryland, they have the port of Maryland Harbor. They have a post there, a plaque to all the black people who died in the water. Those black women, hands, were walking back in the water. So it was
I seen a lot of photos of I've seen a lot of videos and photos. I watch a lot of documentaries of our people being under the water. Yeah, still chained.
Decided to die.
Yeah, chose to die.
So remember, yes, it was a choice, and it was a great choice that they choose to live, because anytime you choose life over death, even if it's going to be a horrible life, you're choosing a great thing, because you're giving reverence to just not what you were, but to what you'll be. Right. You're giving your hands to live. Shit, one of us probably is the descendants of one of them folks that decided to live, and we got to give them people and thank God that I'm able to live here. You know what I'm saying? Imagine us who were not here because they decided I don't want to be a slave. So it was not a good choice, but we made a choice. So we can't be mad.
True. We can't be mad.
It was a choice.
No, I wasn't, and that's the thing. I hated when people got on his ass about that, bro, because he wasn't lying about that shit. That was 100% legit. That was what he said. Yeah, it definitely was.
Do you want to know another fun fact? Did you know Nat Turner was not a real person? Nat Turner was not a real person. Nat Turner was an ideology of what was happening in the South. There was an uprising of black people who heard about a guy in Haiti that was killing white folks, and the black folks started doing the same. Because remember, at one point there were 6 slaves to one slave master. So it was easy to overtake them, right? So they came up with this. White folks, I believe, did it. They came up with a person, Nat Turner, right? And they gave it to the people and told the people how bad they did him for the uprising, right? So y'all wouldn't do it no more.
Right.
And it stopped them from operating in that. Nat Turner, there's no documentation that he lived or died. There's no documentation of that, in the United States, of him even being here. We do have documentation of them operating in that heinous nature of what they were doing to the people in Haiti in the United States. That's why the old story goes. They brought Nat Turner to the United States because of what's the gentleman's name? He had a good way of dealing with slaves and breaking them. And they wanted Nat Turner to come to this guy's plantation because he was the best of breaking slaves. He had the best way to do it. He knew how to operate them. He tarred and feathered them. He did everything in the world to them. One of the major reasons why I don't beat my children. I don't whoop them. because you whooping your kids. That's what the slave master did to us. You know, you got your kids every time you have a party, a little card party, you get to drinking. And you tell your kid, come on in here, do that dance y'all were doing on the end. That's what the slave master did to you.
Mm-hmm.
Mindset. This is why the brother minister said, you have to go away for a time. That time may be 200 years, 300 years. But we got to go away for a time to deal with one another. So I don't have to have no hate in my heart. I don't have to tuck my chains in because a black man walked past me. I don't have to lock my doors and feel like this black person gonna do me wrong or do me harm because he's hungry. Most people steal because they doing bad, bro. I ain't met too many people in a good right mind. Hear me when I say in a right mind. That steal because they don't have to. They steal because they want to. Because they starving. They robbed you away of figuring out tomorrow.
What Cube say on Barbershop, he say black people crimes make sense. You ain't got no money, rob somebody that got some.
White that crime don't make no sense. How you poor in America? You a poor white man in America. You chose that. You chose that because anytime that white man decided he want to operate within being a white man, to stop being a nigga. Look at Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah.
Machine Gun Kelly, when he first came out with super hip hop, this and it. That boy went punk rapper in the middle of the road. Justin Bieber wanted to be around so much they thought he was black. He was acting all type of black.
Yeah, he had a whole album written by Usher and R. Kelly.
I give my life back to Christ, and I will no longer do that type of music. And now he white boy again. See,
same thing with Miley Cyrus, Hannah Montana.
They got a choice. You ain't got one though.
Hey, but check this out. My boy Cameron, it's a line from Cameron from a long time ago, and we're gonna wrap this up. But it's a line that Cam had a while back. It was from, I don't know if you remember DJ Clue mixtapes back with the old Clue, DJ Clue, the old Clue joints. They was, huh?
I like Gangsta Grills.
Yeah, the Gangsta Grills was cold, but Clue mixtapes was before that's what put Fab on the map, put Fabulous on the map. But check it out. Cam said in a song, back in the day, we were slaves, whips and chains. It's tradition. All I got now is whips and chains.
That's tough.
Hey, and with that being said, I gotta know before I let you go, because we got to do this again. I really enjoyed this for sure, but I gotta know. Let me know your top 5. The top 5 rappers, not just lyrically, but what they've done behind the scenes and what that music done for you in your life. But give me your top 5 right now.
I don't listen to rap music.
Oh, jeez, man. Give me your top 5 artists then.
I am a Frankie Beverly and Maze kind of guy.
Okay.
The greatest in my life artist of all times, Frankie Beverly and Maze. But I do listen to some rap, and that's because I have a family affiliation with these people. Time Money.
Okay, Time Money.
And I'm only gonna talk about 2. Time Money and Bump J. That's it. Bump J, because Bump J did something. He took us from that West Side Chicago type of swang type of music with Pope Pimpin' and the Crucial Conflicts, Psychodramas, the Triple Darkness, and all that stuff. And he gave us real rap outside of the singing aspect. But when you start talking about rappers,
Bump was my boy.
When you talk about rappers, Time Money. When I tell you ever get a chance to listen to that Cinco 6 album, listen to a song, not the ones with the stars next to it. Listen to this song, Top Lock. That song, bro, when I tell you his subject matter, Twista even was just praising Time Money on I forgot what was the name of this hip hop show. The guy asked him, who do you see in Chicago as an up and coming rapper, and this, that, and the third. Time Money's such a cold artist that Grand Hustle signed him, and they dropped him because he kept going to the joint.
I remember that.
To jail. But when you start talking about, now he has a deal with Incredible record label with Nick Cannon. He actually helped Cannon do some of the writing with when Nick Cannon was going against Eminem. He was actually to where I believe that dude Conceited and all them other guys, they kind of jealous of Ty Money because Conceited, yeah, he got a little freestyle bars and whatnot, but he ain't won one. And I ain't just saying because we family members. You get a chance to listen to Ty Money, any one of them Cinco albums, and they all think, bro, I be bigging up Ty Money music like I'm gonna get a check from bro.
Okay,
he one of my family. He a real family member. Like
so you don't listen to rap. You listen to a lot of oldies. You listen to a lot of Dusties, right? You listen to Dusties?
I listen to like R&B.
Okay.
Like R&B.
I'm gonna get on your level real quick. All right, check it out. Give me your top 5 artists in general. Just top 5 artists. I don't care what genre it is. Give me your top 5 artists, and I'll give you mine.
Ty Money, Bump J, R. Kelly, Frankie Beverly, Maze, Mary J. Blige. And it's crazy because I want to go longer. I want to give you some more names, but Mary J. Blige is one of the most, literally when they start talking about R&B, Mary J. Blige, MJB.
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige. Frankie Beverly is there because I love Frank. I'm actually going to Cincinnati Music Festival this year. No, it passed already. They canceled it. And Maryville coming up, I think in a couple weeks. I'm definitely going to go see Frankie Beverly and Ty Money because I gotta put my people up there so the people can hear one. The people really, they ain't giving that man a fair shake. Like if you like Lil Durk and King Von and Chiefs and all them people, the only reason y'all fuck with them and people is fucking with them is because they went to Atlanta and they went to LA. Ty Money get away from here to get notoriety.
Not only that, but them niggas, they glorified their careers was glorified off murder and death.
Yeah,
and Ty Money can actually rap his ass off. The boy can rap his ass off. The man can rap his ass off.
Man, he ain't talking about Death in the Air record. Like he got this song called The Woods. Like The Woods is another song. I'm telling you, that 606 album, hard. When I tell you,
I'm gonna check it out.
I'll put that 606 album on, that song Trendsetter. And then he got another one. It's called Huh. He said, you back in back, huh? That 20K shit went through. He said that 20K shit went through for you, huh? Facts. And he said, ain't shit nobody can do for you, huh? That man, he said, you hustling backwards, huh? Bro, he got some, listen to me. I ain't no rapper.
Hey.
You know, I just talk my shit and help people. But when you talk about rap music, bro, in the shot, when you name rappers and you start talking about current rappers, they will underrate One. They probably put Ty Money. I call him affectionately One because it's family. But when you start talking about rappers and you say your top 5, 10, they're gonna say Dirk, Herbo, Polo G. They're gonna say whoever. Like I said, I don't listen to rap music. I can't put the names that tell you. But One, Ty Money, if you ain't listening to him, I really feel like you slow and you retarded and you just don't want to hear no good music because he ain't about to give you no murder in all his raps. He actually got, as Twister would say, his subject matter, this come out of Twister's mouth. He said his subject matter is on the level of like a Slick Rick. You ever heard that bedtime story by Slick Rick? That's Ty Money. If you listen to that, he said, once upon a time, not long ago, where people live a life and things were much slow. There was some justice hood and people were operating all too good. Yeah. There was a little boy that was misled by another little boy, and this is what he said: hey, you want to go and make some cash, robbing old folks and making a dash. Okay, cool. One will tell a story in the fucking music. And you can hear it. It's like people fell in love with that. I got to drop off this flex nigga. He from Tennessee. I got to thought.
Von shit. Yeah, Von shit.
It was so. He told the story. He painted the story of a robbery, right?
Right.
Ty Money paints a story. Literally, I said, and I listened to that trend. I listened to that 606 album, and the songs go as a story. If you listen to each song, it's this, and even with Top Lock and Drug Wars, that song Drug Wars with Bump J.
Yeah.
Bro, trust me.
I'm gonna check it out for sure. I'm definitely gonna do that.
Look, that's underlay for the overplay. Read out like yesterday. He gonna send the load where your mama stay. Wanted on consignment. He gonna want to know where your mama stay. Drug wars, everything I know. No pocket break. Bro, listen to me. Bars in that.
Yeah.
Bro, listen. When we get off this, listen to Top Lock.
I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna listen to it. You know what? You brought up Bump, and one of my favorite lines from Bump. Before I give you my top 5 artists, one of my favorite lines from Bump. It was two people that gave me gangster music. My first time hearing like gangster rhymes. 50 was one of them, and then it was Bump. It was Bump. But hold on, Bump said a line for me, and it was a lot of people don't know that Bump had that hustling beat first. The hustle and hustle. It was his beat first before Ross got on it. And my man said, my baby mama cousin coming in from out of town saying he need a couple grams and a couple half a pounds. What's wrong with this dude? You ain't my family clown. You best to go back to where you came from. Tell your auntie come and get your cousin if she love him before I change him. I was like, Bump.
I just told you that, and I wish I could have kept going because I didn't even say Kanye Tutter.
Oh yeah, Kanye Tutter. Only Chicago people call him Kanye Tutter, G.
Rose. I never called on Rose and Rose like my preaching. I love Rose.
Hey, Ross, I never man.
Rhymes. Bro,
Ross, like, man.
Rose,
yeah,
the underrated rapper in the fucking world.
Yeah, bro.
No person.
You know, Pusha just said that. Pusha said, you know why Ross on almost all of my albums? He said, because Ross is one of those people that he's always going to deliver on a verse. He's always going to deliver on a verse. But I'm going to give you my top 5. My top 5 artists, I don't have a specific order, but I listen to Jill Scott. I listen to Jilly from Philly. I definitely listen to Jilly from Philly. I'm sad that I got on this young lady after she passed, but I love her voice. Her voice serenades me, and that's Amy Winehouse. I listen to Amy Winehouse as well. I love Amy Winehouse. She has a very jazz voice. I listen to Ella Fitzgerald. I like to go back and listen to the oldies, Lena Horne, Billie Holiday, that whole thing, very old music. For some reason, I could not put Ronald Isley in this because the Isley Brothers, the music did a lot for me, and I love the Isley Brothers music all together. And then he talking about Kales. Kales, hey, Kales is definitely that dude. But I'm gonna end my number 5 with it gotta be Hove, man. Hove has always been Jay has to be in my top 5. Musically and the shit that he does behind the scenes, I love to the fullest. And he never speaks on it. He never speaks on the shit that he do for our people.
But I'll let you live.
You say what?
I think that's cheating, but I'm gonna let you live.
How to have Hove in my top 5?
Hove, one of the greatest rappers ever, if not top. Just not even rappers, but we start talking about him being a business.
I just listened to. Did you listen to that verse he dropped on Drake album?
Yes.
Dog, when that nigga said, he said all of that shit on the internet, nigga, we don't tennis that. You got to do something. He said all that back and forth on the internet, nigga, we don't tennis that. You got to do something. I say, Hove.
Man, I just heard Beanie Siegel on the Drink Champs say something that was like crazy.
Bro, you watched that interview. That interview was when Beanie sat there and said out his mouth that Hove checked him.
Yeah, he told him shut up.
He said he hung up on him. He said, I hung up on him. And when I hung up on him, Hove called me back and was like, don't you ever in your motherfucking life ever. I say, damn, somebody check Beans?
He told him, I just went to Beanie Siegel. He just had a concert in Indiana. But the reason why that's important to know is because Jay-Z just said something on the record. He was saying, I made a lot of people millionaires. Jazz made millions. This person made millions.
Yeah.
Could have made more people millions. He said if Dame get out his feelings, he'll tell the same story. Bro, this man
he was talking about Beans.
Yeah.
Beans made millions of dollars and still complained, but he told you why he was pissed off with Hov in that interview.
Yeah.
He told you why. He said it was because they told you that they'll release me to you if you would take responsibility for me. And Hov was like, nah, dog. Like I'm not. You was wilding, but Beans would tell you he was wilding. Everybody said the nigga was wilding.
I'm saying though, on some real life, and I know we're running over time, but I'm saying, but if you think about it, I believe Jay-Z had a plan as far as like, you know, where he was going in direction, because after they broke Rockefeller up, what most people don't know, that Rockefeller was not a label that was apart or independent. Rockefeller Music had backing from Universal, and not just Universal, but they had Def Jam was involved too. So when they broke up, right? Some people went with Dame, some people went with Jay, some people stayed on Def Jam. Def Jam did not want Beanie Siegel. They were not trying to put that kind of music.
That's because when that shit happened, Beans was locked up
in jail, right?
Yeah, he'll tell you that.
Same thing with Time Money. Who the fuck? Why? I bet you right now, if given the opportunity right now, Grand Hustle would rescind what they did by dropping 1-1. They wish they could keep him. Now he don't want to sign a deal. He don't need to. You know, anytime you take a hood kid straight out of Harvey World, Markham area, you give him a fucking $1 million. I ain't signing the deal because I'm straight. Because no matter how it play out, I got $1 million.
But you know, that was the same thing with Bump. You know, Bump even said on that "Nothing's Gonna Stop Me" song. He said it a while ago. He said, "I got deals on the table. So I'm taking my time doing me, nigga. You take your time robbing banks, nigga. You take your time robbing banks, nigga."
He did sign a deal. Interscope gave was it Interscope? I believe it was.
I don't know.
One of them gave him a couple million.
But it was wild. It was wild to me because it was like before you got locked up for robbing these banks, bro. You had your song on McDonald's commercials. That Move Around was on McDonald's commercials.
He had more, but see, the thing with it is you start talking about your publishing. And then the thing about Bump, and I don't want to talk about his pub because Bump, that's a good personal friend of mine. And I love Bump J. I told Bump when I first met him, bro, before I met you, bro, I thought you was like Jay-Z and them, bro. Like I listened to that Chicago Rilla every day. Like I remember the tape gas. The only reason I stopped listening to Chicago Rilla because I think I broke the CD. Other than that's how I actually got turned on to Rick Ross, because that was another CD I had. I had a Rick Ross CD that got stuck in my CD player, and I had to listen to Rick Ross every day. Other than that, you could have told me not to listen to Bump. And Bump, one of them things where I don't think Bump was getting as much money as motherfuckers thought he was. And then there's levels to money. It's like, you know, if I get $100,000 and you had $100,000 for like 5 years, you'll be like, okay, man, I got $100,000, but it diminishes because you're like, okay, I'm used to this now. I want more. So my level of money may not be what you want to be. I can give a motherfucker 10 grand and they're telling, you know, for a lot of these people, they was risking their livelihood for small pieces of money. You know what I'm saying? Bitches out here losing their Section 8 for 20 racks. Miss Lady, you got 12,000 on your income taxes last year. You blew that like this. That's only another 8,000 that you was getting on top of your 20, and you had to pay the person for doing it for you. So they gave you they probably gave you like 15,000. So you got 15,000. You used to getting 12 on your income tax. What that extra 3,000 was that extra 3,000 worth your Section 8?
Just fucked you.
Fucked yourself up. You hear me?
Yeah, that shit wild. But we gonna do this again, man. I can't wait to do this more than once for sure. And I hope that you end up doing your own podcast, bro, because I will definitely tune into it. But
I got somebody that I trust. We just trying to work out the bugs. For me, I really just need somebody to continue to direct me because it's so much information.
Yeah, it is. That's why I said we're going to have to do this again. That's why I said we got to do it again because I already know. And there's so many questions that I got. And the last question I'm going to ask, and I don't want you to even answer it. We're going to save it for next time. But the last question I'm going to ask you before we head out of here is this. Are Four Corner Hustlers shiesty? Because I'm going to be honest with you. I was watching a documentary on Angelo Fo. And Low did a lot of shiesty shit, my nigga. But you ain't got to answer that right now. You ain't got to answer that right now.
Yeah, what I just tell you about, and I it is in the best way. I ain't gonna answer that part, but I'm gonna answer this.
Yeah.
What about the religion thing about being a Muslim?
Mm-hmm.
Don't judge people and think the people is the religion, because they not.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody ain't the same in everything you do. Everybody ain't the same. I appreciate you, man. I gotta say that, man, because just give me the opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
No problem, man. Like you said, I think you said it the other day. You was like, you never know, certain gestures that you make in the past, what it impacted on a child or somebody's life, or if they gonna think about it later on.
And man, when I tell you, and then remember that you not never knowing how things is gonna play out. If you pair that with simple knowing that people leave you where they met you, if every person you meet, if you try to leave a good lasting impression on them, for yourself, I tell people all the time, I don't want nobody to have a bad taste in their mouth about me. So put forth good stuff to you. When you leave me, you left me knowing that I gave you some good stuff.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
it.
most definitely. Well, we're gonna definitely do this again, man. What I do want you to do is definitely tell these folks about how they can have somebody to talk to when it comes to mental health, man.
So you have an option for Breathe Easier counseling service, right? We just changed the office number, so I don't want to give it to you, and I give you the wrong number. You can hit me on Facebook, Paul Naeem on Facebook. It may not look like I'm active on there, but I am active. You can also go to your local health department, whether if it's Will County, Cook County, or whatever other state you live in. Go ask them people. Most of you guys' insurance covers up to 2 personal visits, in-person and personal visits. You don't have to go in there and bury your heart out of your soul if you just want somebody to go talk to. Also, I want to do a shameless plug. I want to give a shameless plug to BetterHelp. BetterHelp is a online app system. You can download it from your phone. It's only $20 a session. Literally, you can go on there and they'll match you with somebody who works for you. There's not a crisis line. Ain't nothing like that. BetterHelp literally is changing lives out here. If you don't feel comfortable meeting somebody personally, you can talk to somebody who wouldn't judge you and know you from a can of paint. For me, I just ask that you try Breathe Easier counseling service. If you give us an opportunity to try to help you and fix things in your life, I guarantee you, if you just took a little bit of what I told you today, and I wish we could go in depth and detail with so many other things, but if you can just take a small bit of what I've given you, if you give me the opportunity, right, it'll probably help change your life for the better. Just having somebody that has lived life similarly to you and have life similarly to you, right? It'll probably be a good thing. So,
most definitely. Everybody needs somebody to talk to, man. Definitely appreciate that shit, man.
And I do more listening than talking. I'm just talking on here because I ain't seen you.
Yeah.
Heard from you.
Yeah.
Got the number 9. Man,
yeah, definitely, man. I'm gonna hit you up, man.
I remember just passing through to Houston. And my homie Lou hit me like, I posted on Facebook like, yeah, I'm OT, I'm Blase. And you and my other homie hit me like, man, you ain't never come to the town and then hit me. And for me, I was with a lady friend. So in my mind, it didn't even dawn on me to reach out to somebody. I was just on a layup.
Hell yeah, AR out in Houston. That's my boy, man. That's definitely my boy, man. But we definitely gonna do this again, man. I appreciate you coming through, man.
Man, I appreciate it. You might want to hit him up, man. He trying to do some good stuff.
Oh yeah, hey, bro, look, man. Me and my man's already made money together a few times, so I'm definitely in contact. Like I said, I don't leave folks in the past, man. If you meant something to me when I was growing up, or you made a mark in my life, or said something to me, I tell everybody all the time, everybody is my teacher. Some people know that they are teaching me, and to others, I bow gracefully. Honestly, I bow gracefully.
Man, I appreciate you, man. I really do.
No doubt, man. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this again, man.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity, man.
No problem, man. I'll let you, man.
All right, I'll let you.